Yes, we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone, again, and thank you very much for carving out some time on your schedule today to talk about one of my favorite subjects, document output. So, before we dive in and share a lot of exciting features that are included in the Release 24, and Daniel, maybe you'll comment on the new numbering system, wanted to go ahead and provide a little bit of either review or overview, depending on your familiarity with Continia. And just as a quick walkthrough, in addition, of course, to document output, we have document capture for incoming, primarily invoices, but really any inbound documents to your business. We can seek to automate that process, capturing those inbound documents, saving that information into Business Central, and of course, saving you time and money and making it a whole lot easier to reference those important documents. We really do think of it as a process automation tool, and you can apply it to, again, any inbound documents, uh, receipts, inspection reports, vendor applications. Really, the sky's the limit on that. For expense management, we have employee reimbursable expenses and corporate credit card expenses covered, and we really try to take the most efficient approach for handling those expenses and making those go through as quickly as possible, and have done a really nice job uh, leveraging OCR capabilities, our AI engine to detect coding patterns, et cetera, again, to make that as quick of a process as possible. Later this year, we have a couple new solutions coming. I say new with an asterisk. Our banking solution is not really new. It's repackaged, but basically what we're doing is taking one of our existing payment management solutions from Europe and adapting that to work with the North American banking system. So we're going through the beta testing with a couple customers with that now to make sure that we get the process streamlined. And so look for announcements on that. And then later this year, we'll be Continia sustainability to measure carbon accounting and ESG compliance, and much more on that to come. Not so much a thing in North America yet, but it is coming. And so we were eager to make sure that we were leading the pack and providing capabilities related to ESG reporting. So look for more information on all that. Of course, we're going to talk about document output today. And if you're a little bit newer to Continia, one thing I wanted to point out was just our overall positioning. We are what we say built inside Business Central. And so I like to say we were purposely and specifically built to work with Business Central. In fact, we do not work with any other systems, any other ERP packages. Certainly, we worked with Nav for a long time, and now it's Business Central. And what that means is we actually add code on top of Microsoft code, extend tables, and so forth. We're part of Business Central when we're installed. And so what that means for you is simplicity and efficiency. That's the bottom line. Without any integrations needed, right? There's nothing to build, nothing to monitor, nothing to wait for, et cetera, et cetera. It's all in one system. And not only does that simplify your lives every day, but provides us a lot of ability to really leverage the functionality that Microsoft provides and the continual development of BC to add new functions and features. And so that's certainly evident, as you'll see today, with document output. If you've not looked at document output before, I like to say it allows you to hyper personalize your communications, and it's an incredibly powerful, flexible toolkit for doing that. And so think about any outbound communications you have or you'd like to have that you're sending from Business Central, remittance advices, invoices, confirmation statements, all of those things. You can hyper personalize those, attach other documents, include BC data in those, and put all of this on a schedule and determine what gets what, when, and where, and keep track of it all inside BC. So you'll see some different examples today, but very excited and very grateful that one of our solution experts, Daniel Stello, is staying late. He's over in Europe, so he's thinking about dinner a little bit, but wanted to share the good news with us in terms of what's happening with document output. And Daniel, I know the team has been hard at work really streamlining the use of document output and coming up with a lot of common sense enhancements. So thank you very much for joining us. We're looking forward to hearing all the updates.
All right. Thank you very much, Mark. I hope you can see my screen in a second. Should be up now.
Looks good.
All right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for seeing me. And let me just quickly introduce myself. My name is Daniel Stello. I am the solution specialist for document output, and I've been with Continia for about a year's time or so. But before I go into showing you all the new stuff that we have with this release of document output, I just want to touch on quickly on what document output can do for you. Mark already did a very fine job there. I'll just touch very quickly on it. And then I'll talk about the new features, put some words on that, show you some resources on where you can find additional information. And of course, we will go in live into the app and have a look at all the new things that we can work with. At the end, if there are any questions, we'll take them there. You can just type in anything along the way in the chat if you do, and I'll see if I do my best to answer them at the end of this. All right, so my document output, as mentioned, it's a tool to build highly customized email messaging, but it is also a tool to automatically send or automatically execute settings for these different variations that you might want to use. So one type of document you might want them to be accompanied with a different messaging in your email body, and those variations can be managed automatically. So they are automatically applied based on attributes of the receiver. And these things all can be set up to work in the background. So the solution won't lock up and you don't have to manually click send. You can set up jobs to pick up any documents that have reached the stage or state that needs it to be sent, and the automation will take care of that. So it's automating, it's handling variations, and it's highly customization. All right, so the new stuff, we have worked on 4 different areas. The first area is the UI, and here the aim has been to make access easier and make it more intuitive and less clutter. And in general, it's the way that we work is to set the design elements and the layouts more in line with what we see from Microsoft on Business Central. We've added some additional attachment options to allow a little more freedom and to be able to send out some cleaner emails. And then we have a thing called what we call merge tables, which is very new, and it's part of the customization where we, with the dynamic tables, can enrich our email content and better suit this, especially for, let's say, B2C invoicing, or if you need to send documents where you don't necessarily want to have a report attached. Could be, let's say, reminders, things like that. And finally, we have some reworked merge fields. Merge fields is something that we use a lot in document output to fetch data and insert that into the email body or the email text. And we can build a quite comprehensive messaging using merge fields. So we can fetch data from a field somewhere, anywhere in BC, or we can actually fetch outputs from code units. So we can even have code units that have an output that we can then merge into the email. And I'll show you just how to do that in a second. So in more detail, the UI rework is revolved around the output profiles. It's been confusing for a good reason, and you'll see that in a second. That's been cleaned up. We have simplified the recipient setup on the templates. We have also made a more direct access to the HTML editor of the email templates. And we have less functions, or we have less used functions moved to a separate tabs below the template lines, which is also very much in line with how we usually see cards in Business Central. For attachments, we now have the option to send emails without the PDF report attached. We can also run multiple reports in the same template line. We've been able to do that in the past as well, but now we can merge these into a single file and not necessarily as separate attachments. And for the combined documents function, there's also been a change, which is going a little bit the other way. In the past, that they will always be merged into one single file. We can now also attach them as separate ones. For merge tables, this is what we can use to build up say document style messaging in the email body itself. These merge tables are dynamic. They can be adjusted automatically, and depending on how many lines or how many columns you need to be present in each email. And they're highly customizable in terms of type, layout, and the style. And there are 3 different tools that we use to adjust these settings, and I'll show you in a minute how that is done. I have a few examples. So let's say we have here an example with 2 invoices, but the same structure. And we have one invoice with 2 different looks, so that we can, in this example here, see that we have 3 different line items. 4, sorry, and we have one here with 2. And it will just automatically adjust the table in accordance. So it's not a table where you end up with empty rows or empty columns. And you can set the coloring and the design as you desire. And lastly, I'll show you a bit about the new merge fields. So it's now become more intuitive. Within the HTML editor, you can search directly for the merge fields, and you don't need to remember the merge field number necessarily. You can just search for the caption, and it will display that, and you can choose it quite easily. So no longer any need for looking through long lists if that is what you use. If you need to find out more about document output, these are great resources to go looking. The document or Continia Docs is the documentation site where the more technical documentation for document output can be found. And we also have Continia Learn, which today also can boast a learning path for document output that is quite new. So I invite you to try that out. On top of that, we have YouTube videos. We have plenty of those, and many of which are sort of how to do tutorial style videos. And of course, the webinars, as the one that we have this morning. There will be more in the future to come as well. Some also with a more deep dive focus on specific areas. All right, so let's dive into the demo. Let me just log in here. So here we see Business Central with document output 24 installed. And as Mark alluded to, there is quite a leap in versioning this time. And that is because we are jumping to version 24 for actually all our solutions. And that is in order to align ourselves with the BC version number. So that these will now go now move forward in parallel. So don't be scared when it says 24 and you're used to seeing a 9. This is all done purposely. All right, so the first thing I would like to show you is the new output profiles. If we go to the output profile setup, we'll see that there's a small change, and that is that some of them have been marked with bold. The rest looks pretty much as it did in the past, but the bold is to emphasize that this is sort of the main line, and all these will then be included within the output profile as additional attributes. It was cause for confusion in the past because some were nervous to pick any one of these, let's say, PEPAL profiles, because intuitively you would then believe that if you chose this one, you would only get the invoices, which is not the case. But this is made much more clear, especially on the customer card that we will take a look at in just a sec. Right now, I just want to show you real quick what the system does. Let's say we add an additional profile for no shipments. So no ship profile. And we link that to the shipment template. And just give it a short name here. So no shipment, and we set the email to skip, which means that when a shipment is processed, it won't send an email to the receiver with this profile. But if we leave it at this, actually they won't receive much at all. So what we need to do is we need to add an additional one with the same code. So we will call that no ship once again. And we will skip the template part. So this means that all other templates or all other report types, they will be using this part of the output profile. So we say no ship other ducks, and leave it at this. So what we will see, if we just go back in a second, we will see that the one that has, let's say, no specific template assigned will be bold, and that will then indicate that it will be the main one that the document output is using. And for shipment specifically, it will be looking at this one. So there are one and the same output profile, but split on different lines. And on the customer card, which is where you would normally set these profiles, we have actually made it even cleaner. So this is the place where you set the output profiles. And here we see the full list. So here we only show the bolded line. In case you need a no ship, you can just pick this one and it will then have all the underlying ones included as well. So we don't display it here as well or any longer, as this was part of the confusion in the past. So that has been cleaned up pretty nicely. All right. Next, I think we should be taking a look at the template list. So with document output, we ship a bunch of email templates, and you can build your own. This list can be extended to as long as you need. But you can see here on the right that we have added 2 fact boxes. Now, the first one is a fact box that shows the recipient setup, fully highlighted email template, in this case, the draft invoice. What this allows us to do is that it allows us to get into the recipient setup. And here you will see that it has also been cleaned up. In the past, you would have 2 additional, maybe was it 3? I don't exactly remember how many, but we had extra fields on each line for filling in the places where document output would fetch an email address. But you would need to know which ones to fill out in accordance or in accordance with whether you used the recipient table or a field somewhere in on the document or in any of the regulations. You don't have to do that more anymore. It's been made more intuitive by presenting a what do you call these, a toggle where you can either choose one or the other. So that you want to set up a recipient from the recipient table or from a field. So this is an either or sort of request page. And once you do that, you can then navigate to find a field, and this in the sales header. And these are then the available fields on there, but we can also navigate via some of the relations until we find a field that we would like to use, or that we would like document output to use to fetch an email address. So this has been nicely cleaned up as well. And the effect box below is the one showing the template lines. The template lines they represent the variations of each template. So let's say that we have different draft invoice variations that we need to send either on language or maybe on customer group. We would see all these different variations as template lines. And those are shown here. And if we click on this one here, we would have a direct access to the HTML editor. And this is new as well. So we now do not have to navigate all the way through to the template and the main template. We can just go directly into the editor here, and we can adjust the content of the email. We can add more static attachments if that's the thing, or change some of the merge fields. And as you see, this is a little preview of what we are going to look at later. But these are the changes that we have been making to the merge field. And how we work with them is something that I'm excited about showing you in just a minute. But we now have direct access to the HTML editor here in the overview of or the template overview. All right, so cleaning up didn't stop there. We have changed quite a bit on the email templates itself. I'll just change this to the show less so you can see the difference. But those of you that have been working within or with our template cards before will note that a lot of settings are missing, but they're not. They have just been moved. So what we have done here is that we've reserved the general tab for the most commonly used and the ones that link report and email together, and that determine the variations plus the general email settings, or the sending and receiving settings. The rest are to be found underneath here under the template lines, where we have moved each of the different setting or sets of settings into their own separate tabs. So the link to settings are now moved here, and on the right you will see an indication of what one of the settings is. So this one is set for a customer, and the same goes for the log settings, which we also had up in the general tab before. This is now here on its own. And for combined documents, same thing, same fields. Document folder settings, where we set a storage point for either PDFs or the XMLs. And we have the signed PDF. So this even though it just says signed PDF, it also includes the password settings if you want to add passwords to the report PDFs. This is where you do that. And finally, we have the email attachment settings down here. And you might note that there is one thing here that wasn't on the general tab before, and that is this toggle right here. So this is the toggle that allows us to deselect the report attachment. So if we want to send emails without adding the report as an attachment, we can just turn that off here. And some of the other settings or attachment-related settings that we have changed are these ones. So here we have the option to attach combined reports as multiple documents instead of one with, let's say, there's a customer where you need to send multiple invoices instead of merging all into one PDF file with multiple pages. You can now also opt for sending them as individual attachments so that each PDF is named with the invoice number and separately attached to the email. And finally, on the attachment news, we have a new one. This one has ended up here in the general section because it's linked to reports. With the document output, you're actually able to run multiple reports and attach those to the same email. And we can now do that in a way that all of these reports are merged or so stitched together as one single document. In the past, they would have been attached separately. And that segues into the merge tables, because merge tables is what we would typically use when we don't want to, let's say, attach an invoice for, let's say, business to consumer. We would probably prefer to present the invoice as part of the email body. And this is where we do that. So the merge tables is the tables themselves you can build from scratch. These are just 3 examples that we ship with the solution. They will be available also if you upgrade. You can just download those from Continia online. And these tables are built using 3, let's say, separate tools. Let me just go into one of them. So this is, let's say, the primary one. This is where we link the table to a DC table, or sorry, a BC table, and we can also here determine the orientation. So if it's row oriented or column oriented. And here we determine where the table should fetch its content. So in this case, we have set it up with fetching from fields. And as you can see, we have here down below, we have a preview of what the table will look like once it is merged into an email. But there are a few things here that you might want to change. For in this instance, the last one here is called description. But if I look at the field that it's fetching, it's payment terms. And the reason why it says description is because the payment terms description, well, the caption there is description. So the settings now all just pull in the caption from Business Central and then presents the data here on the right. But I can actually customize this, and I do that in the table layout section. So what I do here is I find the same here. Let me just oops, sorry. There we go. So the last row here, set for caption. So this means that it will look for a Business Central caption, but I would like to determine or set my own text. So all I need to do is change this to text and put in the text that I would like it to display. So we will set in payment terms. And this should then be instantly reflected down here in the sample, which it is. So now it says payment terms, and making a lot more sense to the receiver than if it had said description. Now there's one other thing that I would like to change. This is of course all up to corporate branding or personal taste, but I would like to have some different coloring here, or maybe a lighter design. This is something we can change in the third tool, which is the table style editor. Before we go into that, there are actually standard table styles or suggestions that we ship with it, and we can just go through some of them and have a look whether there is one that we like. And let's see, there are no, I'm looking for a green one, but no green ones really seem to be here. So I'll take one that's close enough in terms of the style or the lightness and choose that. And it will automatically apply that. So in order for me to, let's say, change the colors, if that's what I like, I need to go into the style, the table style tool. And this is where we set the style of the table. So I was looking for a green color, and this is the cell or the field where I will determine the background color. Note that the color here is for the text color. I would like to remain that to remain white. But let's have a look for green colors here. There should be plenty. These are standard colors. And if there are colors that you need to use, often you have corporate policies on which colors to use. You can add your own, and I'll do that in just a second. But let's just pick this one. It's a nice green color. And say I would like to have sort of an accent to this color bar up here. One way I could do that, which is my preferred way for this instance, is to add a border. So I can add a button border here, and here I set the depth. The reason why I'm not seeing anything now is because it's has a 0 value here, but let's put the value 4 here and give it a color. Now, let's for fun try and set up our own color here. Prepared one in advance. It's another green. I'll call it my green. And I'll just paste in the hex code. Oh, sorry. Paste in the hex code for the color here. And it will pick that exact color and use that as the color for the border. And in this case, for the accent that I want for my, in this case, it's the invoice header information. Currently it displays this as columns with lines. That is probably going to change, but the template itself, or the table itself, is going to be looking like this, which is more in line in what I had envisioned. So how do we get this into the emails? And that is what takes us to the next topic, which is the final topic for today, the merge fields. And the merge fields is something we use in the HTML editor for the email content. There are two ways of adding merge fields. There is using the merge field tool. Here are all the different sort of merge options that you have. So merge fields are the fields that you've set up as available merge field for this template. Merge tables are the same merge tables that we just saw. And we have signatures. Signatures are, well, in and of themselves, sort of sub templates, but they are often also built up by various merge fields. And in this case, the default one is definitely built up by merge fields. But these are sub templates that we can also merge in. But there is a much neater way. Let's say that we want to add another table here. Let's just say the shipping line. So what we do is that we start out with the percentage sign, and this will then present a list, and this list is searchable. So let's just search for ship, and we'll say, yeah, there is something here, shipment with tracking table. Nice, and it has told me that it's the merge table, so I'm on the right track. I'll just click it, and now that merge table is in my email body. Or you can even go further and just say we would like to have a salesperson's name here. Again, type in percentage. We will just search for any sort of term that we might find useful, and it will present the search results and narrow it down the more you write, and you can pick up whichever merge field you need to have presented in the email on itself. So yeah, that is basically the new stuff. I would like to hear any questions or see if there were any questions. I don't know, Mark, have you seen anything in the chat?
Thank you, Daniel. I do not see any questions in the chat. Folks, go ahead and type in some questions if you have any. We'll hold on a minute here to see if anything is populated. And Daniel, this new version is available now, correct?
Well, it is for partners. It will roll out probably maybe tomorrow or Friday. I'm not quite sure because it's been hanging a bit. But yeah, it's close.
Excellent, excellent. And yeah, typically the process is that we make it available for new installations immediately, and then try to roll back on everybody that's already using and do waves of updates to meter that out. So look for those updates soon. I saw somebody typing and now I don't. So I think there are no questions. So, well, we'll go ahead and wrap it up then. Once again, Daniel, thank you so much for staying late, sharing all of this with us, and certainly pass on our gratitude to the team for continuing to develop this out to be such a robust toolkit.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Excellent.
And yeah, lots of things have been happening to document output lately, and it's
for sure.
It's looking bright.
Everyone, thank you again for spending time with us today, carving this into your schedule. We will send out a copy of the recording, so look for that in your email, and you can share that with your family and friends, of course. And certainly contact us or your partner if you have any questions, you'd like to take advantage, et cetera, et cetera. We look forward to talking with you soon. Until then, everyone have a great rest of your day. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Have a good one.